Hey guys, another post-game video blog. Tyler Mayforth, Joseph Garcia from the San Marcos Daily Record. We just watched the Bobcats get throttled, well, in the second half, I guess. Well, overall in the complete game, 38-7 by Western Kentucky. Now, Joe, we talked about before, 5 turnovers tonight for the Bobcats, 3 picks by Tyler Arndt, who started in place of Tyler Jones, we'll talk about in a little bit. Another pick by Tyler Jones, as well as a fumble by Robert Lowe. Now, Joe, on those turnovers by Tyler Arndt, it seemed as if Western Kentucky's players were there every single time. Now, I know with interceptions, a player has to be there for it to get caught, but at the same time, did the Texas State coaches do a bad job of play calling, or was Western Kentucky's defensive plays that good?
It could be a little bit of both, but Coach Petrino told me after the game that he felt like their defense kind of knew it was coming from the Texas State offense, so maybe a little bit predictable there. And 3 interceptions early on, that didn't help because they knew they just had to run the ball after that.
And entering the game, we kind of knew that Tyler Jones wasn't healthy. After all, last week he got banged up against Arkansas State, and we finally found out the extent of it earlier. He fractured throwing hand. And we were just wondering if he's going to play tonight. I was told from some sources before the game that he would not start, that they were going to try to rotate between Tyler Arndt and Duke DeLancelotti. We didn't see Duke DeLancelotti until the game was over with 35 seconds left, and even he was kind of furious about it. And one thing I asked Fran after the game was, so what are we supposed to see into this, that you'll put a 75% or whatever he is, Tyler Jones out there, instead of 100%, Duke DeLancelotti, and he just said, we play our best guy. Now, did Tyler Jones look like that I know he kind of looked a shell himself, but did he look good enough to compete out there tonight?
It was tough. You gotta like the kid's grit. Freshman quarterback, hung in there, took some hits, but he also made a few plays. Got the Bobcats on the board, only touchdown pass with a broken hand, mind you. That's says it all right there. But that's got to be tough. He probably was the best option though for the Bobcats.
And it's just a shame that on senior night, Tyler Arndt got his chance. It was going to be the crowning moment maybe for him to lead the Bobcats to a victory, even in an at-large bowl bid. But then it just didn't happen. He threw an interception on 3 consecutive passing attempts in the span of 3 different plays, and Western Kentucky finally drove the stake in the Bobcats' hearts following the second one. That was on a 47-yard run by Antonio Andrews. Andrews had a monster night tonight. Now let's touch on Andrews real quick, because he just looked like a man among boys out there. 21 carries, 204 rushing yards, 3 touchdowns. What did you see out of Andrews that was just kind of stand out?
No one could tackle the guy. First guy, always, he made a miss, stiff arm, maybe a juke, but you could tell that this guy's going to play at the next level, and Texas State just had a tough time trying to handle him today.
And this is the second consecutive week that an opposing offense put up 300 or more rushing yards. And last week it was Arkansas State that put up 328 or 324, right around that area. Tonight, 321. Now, we've seen some teams come through here, and they didn't really feature that power run team that, like Fran mentioned in the postgame, we faced a lot of spread teams. Do you think this defense was kind of a smoke and mirrors kind of thing against the run? Is this what we should expect against the run from them? Or is there something more to it that just weren't fitting correctly?
I just think it's tough because they were out there for so many plays, put in precarious situations by the offense for most of the first half anyway. And it doesn't help when your offense only gains 29 yards on the ground. 21 yards on the ground, sorry. So that right there should tell you that the defense is out there a lot, and that's tough to make plays with big running backs running at them. And that's probably, they got the bulk of their yards in the second half and finally wore them down.
In this, the 21 rushing yards, as you mentioned, are the fewest that Texas State has gained since Dennis Franchione returned to the sidelines in 2011. So that's saying a lot. I mean, they've had some bad performances on the ground, especially last year at New Mexico, if I remember correctly. They only gained like 32 rushing yards on something like 30 attempts. And tonight, 29 carries, 21 yards for them. Then look at the flip side, Western Kentucky, 46 carries, 321 yards. But overall, Joe, I mean, if you were Texas State, can you take any positive out of this game? Or is it the fact that, hey, the game's over, we still have a winning record, we can still finish strong Friday against Troy?
I mean, you have to find some sort of silver lining, and I think it's that fact that, the quest for 7 is still out there, and a possible bowl game, maybe this performance right here didn't do them any favors, but they could make up for it next week against Troy.
It's going to be a short week for the Bobcats as they, Friday night, the day after Thanksgiving, they will face the Troy Trojans on the road in Troy, Alabama, site of the 2013 Sun Belt Volleyball Tournament, where the Texas State Bobcats won today, and they'll be representing the Sun Belt in the NCAA tournament on December 5th or 6th, and I can pretty much guarantee you that's going to be in Austin. Joseph Garcia will be covering them for you up there. But anyway, tonight it wasn't the greatest night for the Bobcats. It was a 38-7 loss to the Western Kentucky Hilltoppers, and we'll see what the Bobcats can do if they can turn it around. If there's one good thing about it, Troy is not a running team, but who knows with the way this team is performing. Anyway, Tyler Mayforth, Joseph Garcia, talk to you later.